Bizard and the Big Bunny Bizness is a funny graphic novel designed for kids 6 years old and above. Behind the humor are lessons about friendship and power and responsibility when wish-granting gets out of control. Hi, I'm Dan Skinner, and welcome to the Kids Bookshelf. Ahead, I'll talk with Chrissie Krebs about the book and the inspiration behind it. I requested and was provided with a copy of the book, but this video is not sponsored. Chrissie Krebs is an Australian author and illustrator of children's books. Her books include Pig in a Wig and There's Something Weird in Santa's Beard. She's also illustrated books for other authors. The first book in her Bizard graphic novel series, Bizard the Bear Wizard, was a Junior Library Guild Gold Standard selection. She joins us to talk about the next book in the series, Bizard and the Big Bunny Bizness. Chrissie, welcome to the Kids Bookshelf.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
Well, this is the second book, which features Bizard. So tell us about his origin. What inspired Bizard?
Well, the story of Bizard in the actual book is that he was just an ordinary bear going about his ordinary business when a very large tornado went through the area and an out-of-control wizard's wand slammed into his head. And as a result, Bizard could actually create wishes for everybody in his community. So that's a storyline of how it is. How I actually became involved in Bizard is I was in a bookstore in Melbourne and I was looking around at all the books and I saw that there were so many books on unicorns and they were very popular at the time. And I thought, I'm so sick of unicorns, but, I wanted to, get involved in the process of something magical. And I thought, well, unicorns are magical because they have a magical horn on their head. And I thought, well, perhaps I can translate that over to another animal. And so I started to actually draw some images of different animals with horns on their heads. And the good old bear, the brown bear, was the one that really, really caught my attention. And so it started from there, just from a drawing, because originally I am an illustrator. And so I illustrate, I'm visual before I actually create the story.
The name is fun, which is an indication of a lot of the puns and wordplay you have in your books. He's a bear, he's a wizard, he's a bizard.
Yes.
So for what age group are these books intended to be for?
I believe the age group is probably for around 6 to about 10. So it's quite a large range age group. For those that are a little bit of a reluctant reader, graphic novels are a great way of getting kids involved into the joys of reading. So 6 to 10 would probably be my age group I was aiming for.
So tell us about this latest book. What kind of trouble does Bizard or his friends get into?
So, well, in the first book, it's basically about his origins, about how he got the wand into his head and what happens when, everybody can get their wishes, which is not always such a great idea. The second book is about Bizard and his friends. So it goes more into detail into his relationships with his different friends, and in particular Squirrel, who requests a wand for himself in order to help the community when Bizard goes into his yearly hibernation. And unfortunately, things do go a little bit chaotic for him, and it's up to Bizard and the rest of the gang to really help rectify the situation. I kind of look at, with friendships, there are some friends that, aren't necessarily, they mean well. And I think we all need to be a little bit patient and understanding and supportive of those friends too. So I was trying to incorporate, the different range of friendships and how, we can, not be so judgmental with them.
But this book is also about power. It's about responsibility when you have power, because squirrel gets kind of carried away and things start to go awry.
Yes. So, and that's the thing too. With what's that famous saying? With great power comes great responsibility, and it's all about you can wish for power, but at the same time you need to be gentle and be able to control yourself around that particular type of power. But also too, it's also about consumerism too, a little bit. And I don't want to get altruistic about it, because like I fall into the trap too of, if I'm feeling a little down, I wouldn't mind, going out and getting myself a dress or a pot plant from the shops. But, getting things so easily sometimes is not good for people. And when Bizard can grant wishes willy-nilly, it's not always good for the environment, for everybody else within the community. And so that's also something else that I was trying to incorporate into the book.
There's a lot of humor in this book, as I pointed out, a lot of wordplay. So do you enjoy kind of connecting with your inner child to write these books?
Absolutely. I think that's the one thing that I can honestly say that I do is I definitely look at the inner child within me. I mean, we're currently in my library, and behind me you'll find there's toys and children's books. And it's not because I have small children that love them, it's because I do. And so it's, I have to say that I do constantly go back to my inner child and have a little bit of fun with that.
Chrissie, to give us a flavor of this book, would you read part of it for us?
Certainly. I will read the first chapter of Bizard and the Big Bunny Bizness, and it's titled Cat is Hopping Mad. And we are at the wizard's cabin. Hey, Cat, do you know what tonight is? No. It's nacho night. Come on, Cat, what's the matter? You used to love nacho night. I guess I've changed since you turned me into a frog. You totally have. Get it? Totally. Not funny. I'm a frog, not a toad. Are you ever going to wish me back into a cat? Hey, Cat, the beans are almost done. Can you grab the salsa and the corn chips? Come on, Cat. Hop to it. Can you open the bag of corn chips? Hurry up, Cat. Rib it open. Get it? Ribbit. There's one more thing we need for nachos. Cheese. Do you want a side of flies with your nachos? Oh, I mean fries. Maybe it's time to take a leap of faith and go on my own way. I'm going to see if Bizard the Bear Wizard can help me. Hey, Cat, did you find the cheese?
Chrissie, as you know, because you're an illustrator and you've worked on other people's books, that frequently the author and the illustrator work separately with just an editor as a go-between. So you being both author and illustrator, do you feel like that gives you a creative advantage?
Absolutely, it does. I know that a lot of I've been blessed to work with some wonderful writers who have been very, very supportive of my work. But as an illustrator and as an author, I have a certain vision in my head, and I can imagine writers do too. And so I can appreciate how they must feel a little bit, I won't say disappointed, but what would be the word? Just surprised by sometimes the direction that the illustrator takes. And I don't have any of those surprises.
You mentioned earlier that you think visually. So for you, the images come first and then the story?
Absolutely, they do. Sometimes, especially if I'm feeling creatively blocked, I will just start drawing images of what I think would be fun. And usually from there, if I really like an image, I'll start to start to think about what kind of character they are, and I go from there, and then I start writing the story. So it's almost like a backward process for me. I start with the character, and then I get the personality in place, and then I go to the actual story.
My question next is something I like to ask authors of fiction, and that is, if you could spend a day in real life with one of the characters from your book, who would it be and why?
It would be so easy to say Bizard because, I do like to sit around and I do like eating and I do love naps. But I think the funnest would have to be Squirrel. He's so naughty, but he's lovable. And I think that I would have a lot of fun being with him, although I'd probably have to apologise to a lot of people. But I think Squirrel would be probably my favourite character to hang around with.
And there's something else that's in common between these two books, as I recall, because I've read the first one as well, and that's hamburgers.
Yes, I have to say, well, who doesn't love a hamburger? But also, too, I just found it, I'd like to add a little bit of anthropomorphic magic into stories, which is what a lot of children's books are about. There are animals that have human traits, and for me, fast food, that kind of things like that, is always funny, and kids understand it so much better. So it's like I could have Bear eating the things that bears eat, but at the same time, I just thought, hamburgers is just such an easy way of and fun way of bringing in, today's society into the animal world. And also, too, in the second book, you realise that hamburgers don't have to be meat; they can be vegetarian as well. So that was also covered in the second book as well.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. The second book, under I think the last chapter, you talk about worthy wishes, was that hamburgers were definitely worthy.
Well, everybody needs to eat. So I do, not everyone needs an iPhone or a new computer, but, everybody needs to eat. So I just thought that, hamburgers are pretty worthy in my world.
Is there another Bizard book in the works?
There might be. We're just seeing how books 1 and 2 are received. But yes, I do have an idea for a third book if things go well according to plan.
Well, I know your creative world is larger than just Bizard. There are other books, and you also design toys.
Yes, I do. And actually, I'm in the process. I won't show it on here because he's not finished, but I am actually creating a Bizard toy, which I plan to actually put up on my website as well once he is finished. But yes, I just find that also too, working with a three-dimensional images helps with drawing the character in all different sides and positions. So I do that also on occasion.
Well, this book is Bizard and the Big Bunny Bizness, written and illustrated by Chrissie Krebs. Chrissie, thank you for talking with me today.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Now, if you'd like to purchase Bizard and the Big Bunny Bizness, I've placed a link for you in the description below. Thank you for watching this edition of the Kids Bookshelf. And if you'd like to see more videos about children's books and their authors, be sure to subscribe, like, and click on the bell to be notified about future programs. And if you're looking for books for young adult and older readers, be sure to check out my Some Books Considered channel, and you'll find a link to that below as well. I'm Dan Skinner. Until next time, keep sharing the gift of reading.